Hey guys, Sean here from Srkcycles, and for a lot of you guys, you're just getting into motorcycles, and you might have the same question with these older carbureted bikes, and it doesn't have to be that old. It could be actually they still make carbureted bikes, but for a carbureted bike, most of them don't have a gas gauge. So how do you not run out of fuel, or what do you do when you run out of fuel? This little fella will explain that. This here is your fuel petcock, and it's got 3 settings, and these might be different for different bike, but one says on, and it'll often have an arrow where it's pointing. One says on, one says off, one says reserve. If you don't know about this, and you're riding, your bike starts spitting and sputtering and just kind of shuts down, and you look at your fuel petcock and it says reserve, you're in trouble. It should say on. And then, so when you do run out of fuel, and you'll feel it, you'll be riding, it'll just kind of, you'll lose power. And it's big enough that you can reach down there while you're riding, flip it over to reserve, and then it'll spit and sputter for a little bit, and then it'll fire back up, and then you have, somewhere about 10-15 miles to get back to where you're going. So it's very important that when you're riding, or that once you get to the gas station and you fill up after being on reserve, you flip that switch back to on. Now the way this works is you have a tube inside there, and when it's on, it's sucking fuel from like right here in the fuel tank. And then when that runs out, the reserve tank, it's not a different tank, the reserve switch will suck the fuel from a lower part in the tube, and that's how you have access to more fuel. But you always, when you're riding, you always want to keep it on, and then if you run out of fuel, it's gonna look like this. You'll be riding, and then it starts spitting and sputtering, you reach down there and you just make sure you jab your finger in like a fin, burn yourself a little bit, reach down there, flip it to reserve, give it a second, it'll fire back up. You better get to a gas station as soon as you possibly can. So I hope that explains everything. It's a little simpler for the manufacturers to make it that way. Some bigger bikes do have fuel gauges, but that's how you use your fuel petcock. And you would turn it off maybe like in the season, you know what I mean? But turning it off just shuts off the fuel going to your carburetor. So if you ever want to run all the fuel out of your carburetor for the season and keep that cleared out, that's when you would turn it off and then just run the bike till it dies. Alright guys, this is Sean from Srkcycles. Don't forget to subscribe, check out our other videos, and we'll see you later.